Drew, I hope you're having a great day. Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa.
Always enjoy being on, Ryan. How are you?
I'm good. I should just let you do the RAV4 commercial, right? I mean, you can tell us all about how much you love your RAV4.
Yep, love that car. Best car I've ever owned. Had one since 2015, and I would not trade.
There we go. There we go. So we're talking to Drew DeArmond here, and we're continuing our conversation. We got Auburn folks calling in, claiming that we've got 9 national titles. What do you think?
Well, I heard some of the argument about the 9 national titles. And as I told Marquise as I was, getting ready to come on the show, quite frankly, Auburn has good football tradition, but you can't count equestrian and swimming along with the others.
Why not?
I mean, you just can't. I mean, Alabama's national championship, aside from 1941, and consider the circumstances of the war, it's still credible. But besides that one, Alabama was awarded all those championships in a legitimate factor. Just because, Auburn hasn't won as many as Alabama and they want to poke holes in it, that's fine. But then all that does is add to the little brother syndrome.
But can you imagine being Auburn right now, looking at your cross-state rival, winning 5 out of the last 9 years, and having to go through that misery?
Well, I mean, I guess it's got to be hard, but they did win one in 2010, and as it was pointed out, there is no asterisk by it, regardless of what you believe happened with Cam Newton. I mean, nothing was ever proven, so Auburn won the national championship. To be honest with you, they should be thanking their lucky stars for that. Because if Auburn hadn't won the national championship in 2010, this would be even tougher. And they nearly won it again in 2013. And I still say this, without Nick Saban winning the 5 that he's won, I don't think that Auburn would have won the one they did and had the near miss in 2013. I always say that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, and you have to try to keep up with the Joneses. And I think Auburn's had a couple of magical years, and during that time period, they beat Alabama in 2 of the most classic games in the Iron Bowl rivalry that allowed them to win one title and almost win another.
But how we've tied all this together is we were talking about national titles, and we happen to be talking about Central Florida. They brought up the conversation because Scott Frost pretty much shot it down that you got to win the college football playoffs to be able to claim a national title. He was the head coach at Central Florida. He's now the head coach in Nebraska. He's saying Central Florida, I understand that we feel like that we were wrong by the committee, but at the end of the day, the champion is the college football that goes through the tournament, the college football playoffs, able to win that. So we got that brought up, and then Auburn fans started bringing up, well, this 2004, 93, and 83, and the counter is, well, Alabama added 5 championships in the 80s. Why not us?
Okay, here's the deal. Auburn would have lost to the Miami Hurricanes on a neutral field. End of discussion in 1983.
No doubt.
Auburn would have lost in 93. They weren't the best team in America. They were very fortunate to beat Alabama. To me, I mean, the Nebraska teams of that era in the 90s would have soundly beaten those Auburn teams. I'm sorry. I firmly believe that. And then in 2004, Auburn saved themselves from a beatdown by USC because USC destroyed Oklahoma in the national championship game, in the BCS national championship game, and there is no question in my mind that they would have done the same thing to Auburn. End of discussion. That was one of the great teams in college football history. That was a very good Auburn team, but they did not have enough to play USC, and they better just count their lucky stars that Oklahoma didn't choke like they usually do before they get to the national championship game, because if they had it would have been embarrassing.
Drew, the last time we talked, Athlon Sports had released a publication with Tua Tagovailoa being the #1 quarterback in the SEC. Since that conversation, we've got the Sporting News. Bill Bender, national college football analyst, lists Tua Tagovailoa as the second best quarterback in the country. You think it's fair?
Not right now. I don't think it's fair. I do think, though, that a lot of times you have to do preseason ratings based upon last season. Now, in the preseason, is Tua Tagovailoa the best quarterback in the SEC and one of the two best in the country? No. At the end of the season, should he be, or do I think he will be? Yes. But right now, to me, when it's a preseason magazine, you need to go based upon who's returning. And I think that's unfair to Tua. But do I think he's talented enough to do that and be the best one in the country? Absolutely, no question in my mind.
Do you worry that some of this hype will go to his head? I mean, this is a lot to manage as a true sophomore.
No, I really don't.
Okay.
I think he has a special and skill set and intangible. I think he's a hard worker. I think he got some really good stock with his family. I think he's kind of been made for this. I mean, look, the reason I don't think he'll go to his head is how many other players, Ryan, would have been ready to come off the bench cold in a national championship game and bring their team back from a 13-0 deficit against Kirby Freeze, smart, and win a national championship in one of the greatest performances in college football history.
We look at the Crimson Tide. I'll take you to a list on NFL.com. A lot of preseason recognition, and it starts with guys like Raekwon Davis. Raekwon Davis, according to NFL.com, is the 12th best player right now in college football. Is that fair?
I think right now I would rate him in the top 20. Yeah, I think that's fair. I thought he absolutely had a breakout year last year. And honestly, Ryan, the play he made on that interception to turn the national championship game around, the interception, doesn't get enough, play. I mean, there's not many big-time athletes. First of all, you don't see a lot of 6'6", 6'7" defensive linemen. And secondly, they can move like that. I mean, he made the interception and then ran it back and then got Alabama a ton of momentum. He's a freak athlete. He just was very raw when he came to Alabama. But as we've seen with Nick Saban and 12 guys getting drafted in the National Football League draft, an SEC record, the key with Nick Saban is player development. I mean, and so I think Raekwon still got his best football ahead of him. You saw him play just bits and pieces as a freshman. He took a huge jump as a sophomore, and to me, he could take the next leap as a junior. And, if he stays healthy, I think he could be the best defensive lineman in the country. I said last year I thought DeArmond was the best interior defensive lineman in college football, and I think if that played itself out by the end of the season, I think you can maybe say the same for, Raekwon Davis after his junior year.
But it's simply amazing, and I understand that these guys were major contributors. I understand the injuries and allowed Alabama to build some depth. But it's simply amazing. We go back a couple of weeks ago and we watched the NFL draft, and then we lead into this season, and we're talking about not that big of a drop down for Alabama's defense.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially the front seven. I mean, it is pretty astounding that Alabama continues to lose the guys they do, and yet they continue to plug them in. And especially when you think of the last 2 years, Alabama did miss, I think, on some defensive line recruits, that they would have wanted to bring into the program. But the ones they did hit on, Raekwon Davis has turned into a great player. I think Quinn Williams may end up with a breakout season, no doubt about that. I think Isaiah Buggs, while Alabama has not had a good record of signing junior college offensive linemen since James Carpenter, pretty much every junior college defensive lineman they have signed has hit. I mean, I know Jamar King didn't play a lot, but even he ran a 4.8, and will probably end up in an NFL training camp. And I wouldn't be surprised if he pushes and found a way to at least get deep into training camp. And he was a bit player, but when you think of when you think of Isaiah Buggs and what he could do beside Raekwon Davis, I mean, it's a pretty like what Jaron Reed did his senior year. It's pretty exciting to think about, and then you think about all the linebackers Alabama has lost and to the NFL over Nick Saban's tenure, and all the injuries they went through last year. But in return, in my opinion, probably the deepest outside linebacker group they've ever had under Nick Saban going into a season, and then two inside backers, in Dylan Moses and also Mac Wilson. I think both those guys can be future first-rounders. So the front seven is still very, very talented. It's just now, while I think the secondary has got the talent, can it come together? Is it going to be cohesive? And can these 4 newcomers that will be there in May provide the depth that's going to be needed?
Mack Wilson, number 19, according to NFL.com. 19th best player right now in college football. Is that a good number? You like that?
Well, I'll say this. I think Mack Wilson is the best coverage linebacker at Alabama since C.J. Mosley. And C.J. Mosley was very good in coverage. Much like Mack, his first couple of years, he played, specialized roles. I do think Mack will be able to play all 3 downs next year if he stays healthy. I've heard people say that some don't think he'll leave early, but I think without a doubt, if he's a top 20 pick in the draft or top 20 player in college football, it'll be his last season at the University of Alabama, and I think the coaching staff knows that, and they're preparing as such. I think they're going to sign 3 or 4 linebackers, and they're going to definitely try to prepare for his departure. And I think Dylan Moses, he could be a future first rounder as well. But I just think Mack Wilson, when you look at it, he's made plays since he came on the field at Alabama, whether it be special teams and the huge hit. Remember, he caught a touchdown pass as a fullback as a freshman. And then he's played linebacker really well. I think, what he did in the Sugar Bowl was tremendous. And really, you got to remember, he was coming back from an injury as well. So I just think if Mack Wilson's healthy, yes, he'll be one of the best linebackers in college football, no question, because I think he has a very high football IQ. And, I was told recently that Rolando McClain thinks he could be the best of them all. And that's saying quite a bit, considering Rolando is about just a award winner himself.
Damien Harris listed at 22 on this NFL.com list. Their 22nd best player in college football is Mr. Damien Harris.
He's one of the most underrated backs, in Alabama history. Right now, I would equate him to Dennis Riddle of the 1990s, who did not play in the NFL, but had a very good career at Alabama and always kind of flew under the radar. Of course, if Damien is fortunate enough to stay healthy and get a 1,000-yard season for the 3rd straight year, Ryan, then I think there's no question that he'll get the respect that he deserves. But I think if you go back and look at Alabama history, I was talking to his high school coach, Byron Smoot, his running backs coach, at Berea in Southern Madison High School, pardon me, in Berea, Kentucky last week. And I think if you go back and look at the stats, the only running back to average more yards per carry in their Alabama career is Wilbur Jackson, which is saying a lot. So Damien Harris is averaging almost 7 yards per carry, I think 6.7, 6.8 in his career. He has an extremely high football IQ. A lot of fans were down on him after his freshman year. Didn't think he made the quote-unquote impact. Well, he's certainly done that the last 2 years, and then he came back to school. He wants to be a leader on this offense. And I know he'll have to share touches, but it's actually going to, I think, benefit him in the long run in the NFL. And Damien Harris is, I think, one of the top 25 to 30 players in college football, and I think he'll be a first or a second-round draft pick in the National Football League. And I think he could have a career similar to Mark Ingram if he goes to the right organization. Mark definitely looks like he's going to be able to play 10 years in the NFL, and I wouldn't be surprised if Damien Harris quietly goes about that himself.
Tua Tagovailoa listed by NFL.com as the 26th best player right now in college football. See, we're talking about quarterbacks. Now we're talking about players overall. Tua Tagovailoa listed at 26, Jonah Williams at 28, Anthony Jennings 35. That's the top 50 of NFL.com. Best college football players currently right now. Tua Tagovailoa number 26. I mean, Tua Tagovailoa is going to get the hype this offseason, if anything can tell, in the last 4 or 5 days of these publications.
Oh, well, the last impression is it was one of the greatest throws in college football history. I wouldn't put the cart before the horse. I think he can rate I think there's a good shot he'll rate there at the end of the year. At the beginning, hey, let's just let him prove himself in a full season, but I don't think there's any doubt that he can. I think he's a special talent. I think I'll say this. If he's as good as I think he is, I think he'll be invited to New York. I think he can be a Heisman candidate. You look at Alabama's schedule. You look at Alabama's talent. I firmly expect Alabama to be in the college football playoff again if everyone's healthy. You always have to say you have that stipulation. But I think Alabama's the best team in the SEC. I think they would beat Georgia again. The thing that kind of I think is comical is I keep hearing people say, "Well, they're going to prepare for Tua." They're going to prepare for Tua. What happens when they prepare for him? What happened against Baker Mayfield? Nobody stopped Baker Mayfield for 3 years. Do you think anybody's going to stop Tua Tagovailoa? Guess what, America? Alabama's more talented than Oklahoma. Alabama has better coaches than Oklahoma. So guess what? Now that Alabama's got a transcendent quarterback, everybody better just get ready to just to be miserable, because Alabama's going to be front and center at the front of college football for the next 5 to 6 to 7 years. Because guess what? There's not just one Tagovailoa, there's two. So get ready.
You get a little fired up, Drew. You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. I'm just. It sounded like you were venting to a Twitter follower or something. I don't know. I mean, it's just.
Well, no, I haven't gotten in those conversations. I've tried to stay away from that some. I guess I'm venting on your show. But I just
let it rip, man. Tell us what you really think. Come on.
I absolutely. I mean, I just think it's funny that people think, okay, well, teams are going to scheme and be able to stop Tua Tagovailoa. Well, it's not just about Tua. It's about the offensive line. It's about the wide receivers, the tight ends, the running backs. There is no team in the country with Alabama's offensive talent. Zero. If Alabama had a coach like Steve Spurrier, they would average 65 points per game.
Glory.
But they don't. So Nick Saban will take pity on some of these people, and they better hope Alabama has trouble staying focused or has another rash of injuries, because if they don't, there are going to be some sad people around the SEC making a lot of more excuses about how many championships Alabama claims. Because guess what? When you talk about how many championships the school claims and trying to say they're illegitimate, it only means you know deep down inside that your program is inferior.
65 points, Drew?
Yes, easily under Steve Spurrier. Because he's not going to take the foot off the gas, man.
Yeah, and Saban has been known to take the foot off the gas.
There's no doubt. Take the air out of the football. Have you ever heard Steve Spurrier say take the air out of the ball?
No, but Nick Saban says that quite often.
He certainly does, and that's why, because he understands he doesn't want to show anybody up. Steve Spurrier never worried about that. He wanted to continue to stay aggressive, but that's the reason. But he wasn't. He thought about defense, and that's the reason Steve Spurrier is a really good coach and not one of the all-time greats like Nick Saban, because he only won one national title. But he never had an undefeated season. But I'm just saying, stylistically, Steve Spurrier would love to coach this Alabama offense that they're going to put on the field in 2018, because there is no weakness to it.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I mean, but you're
I'll make another statement on your show.
All right,
the best
hold on.
I've ever seen in the SEC is the 1996 Florida Gators.
Sure.
Alabama will be better than them this fall.
Oh, glory. All right, so hold on a minute. I want to make sure I got this correct. Alabama's offense in 2018 will be better than 1996 Florida Gators this year. Will be better.
I think it can be, yes. No question.
Wow, it's a bold prediction Monday here. I like it, Drew. I like it, man. How can folks connect with you and find out more about your show? Because I know we have a bunch of mutual listeners that listen to you and listen to us in the afternoon.
Absolutely. They can connect with me at DrewD977ESPN. That's my personal Twitter account. And you can connect with our station at 977ESPN. And I'm on 9 a.m. to noon, Monday through Friday. Always enjoy a lot of your listeners catching my show in the morning. Always enjoy the interaction in Tuscaloosa and love being on with you guys each week. Appreciate it, and always enjoy being on your show and being a part of things.
Now you guys accept foreigners too, right?
Well, yeah, we do have War Eagle Wednesday. We talked some Auburn today, considering that their baseball team right now is red hot and swept Vanderbilt this weekend. But we also talked some Alabama softball. So we try to cover the full gamut a little bit. But yeah, we definitely focus on Alabama.
Well, we're actually voting down here tomorrow on a Tuesday if we're going to ban all Auburn callers from here on out.
Hey, I mean, you never know, Ryan. We're going to have a short week on Talkin Ball this week. We might even get you in on Wednesday.
Oh, praise the Lord! Hallelujah! Are you really going to consider me for Wednesday? No, you're not. No, you're not. There's no way. I've been pleading to be on War Eagle Wednesday forever, and you're just teasing me. You're just teasing me.
Well, you'll see. You'll just be watching your cell phone.
Okay, I'm waiting for the text message. Thanks, Drew. I hope you have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it.